What's going on?
What up,
Another
though?
episode, another episode of Bringing the Business. You got your host BC right here. Hey, from now on, I know, and this is gonna be the first time you heard this. From now on, instead of being called Nick, I'm gonna be called BJ.
DJ?
Yeah, stand for my dad name Buddy. So I'm going by Buddy Jr.
Okay. Why
So,
why why is that? Let's tell the people why is that?
well, I mean, it's been in my identity for forever. It's just the fact that I just never used it, never, uh subscribe to it, you know what I'm saying? But again, the older I get, man, I'm my daddy's son, you know what I'm saying? True and true. You know what I'm saying? So I'm BJ, man. I'm BJ. So
Hey, and
You got another BJ in your life.
I know how important that was to you. Because you just said you're daddy's son.
Yeah.
And I know how important it is to be recognized as your daddy's son, which as it should be, you know what I'm saying, for
Yeah.
any man or whatever, but to the point where you even went back and changed your last name to give yourself
Oh,
your pop's name, right?
absolutely. I went back and changed my last name to White because that's my daddy's last name. Yep, sure did.
Okay,
I
so
did that when I was like 20, probably like 22. Yeah, I was about 22, 23 years old when I did that.
why was that so important to you?
Because it's a part of my identity. You know what I'm saying? Like my mom, when she had me, she was still married to my sister's dad, and his last name was Wade. So, and I just never subscribed to that. You know what I'm saying? And I knew I was my daddy's son. You know what I'm saying? It was never a question. It was never like he disowned me or anything like that. Like I knew from birth that that was my dad. You know what I'm saying? So it was very important to me to do it because I wanted it done when I was a kid, but it just never happened. So when I got the money and found out the information to do it, I did it myself because that's a part of my identity. So I, you know, I think as black men, we already been stripped of our identity enough. So I wanted to make sure that man held strong with my, and another thing, like we don't live forever, right?
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that my daddy's last name lived on. My grandfather's last name lived on. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's important to me. Like my son's last name is White because you know, I changed my name. My daughter, when she was born with Wade at first. So when I changed my last name, I changed her last name along with it. So that's something that
So
was very important to
hold
me.
on. So when you got married, your wife was Wade.
But she never changed her name. She
Okay.
never changed her last name.
Okay, because I was gonna say
But
y'all had to go through changing everything now. So,
yeah, well, no, I had to go through changing everything between me and my daughter, but she never changed her last name. So her name always remained the same. Yeah.
okay. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
you know, I understand the importance of last names and stuff like that, especially when you feel that the person or the people that came before you had some substance or carried the name the right way, or you know what I'm saying. You want to follow that. I'm gonna tell you a situation about myself that I really didn't learn until I was older. You know what I'm saying? Until I
Mm-hmm.
was good and grown. Really, possibly in the last 10 years or so. So
Okay.
my personal situation. You know, okay. So when I was born, my father had gone away to the military, and I was he was a young father going away to the military and stuff like that. So back here at home, I was raised a lot around my grandfather, and you know what I'm saying. I'm speaking of men, because I was
Yeah.
raised
Yeah.
by my mama and everybody, but I'm speaking of men. My grandfather and my uncle Terry, and
Right.
so they were obviously cook men. So when I was 6 years old, my mother got married, and she
Mm-hmm.
married my stepfather, who I call pops to this day. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Keep him in your prayers too, man. Like it's
Absolutely.
It's getting tough on us right now. I'm just saying it like that. So
Okay.
keep them in your prayers. But yeah, so
All
she married my stepfather, uh, Travis Newsom. And I tell people I had this conversation with somebody just yesterday, just again, just thinking about him, due to the condition that he in and stuff like that. He could write a book on being a stepfather. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's like he checked the right boxes. Like he first of all he gained his respect in his house. So it's like you're not gonna disrespect me in my house. You know what I'm saying? Like I run my house or whatever like that. So he gained
Mm-hmm.
his respect. He showed me love. He provided for me. He gave me wisdom and game. You know what I'm saying? Like he was a father to me inside my
Right.
house, even
Right.
though I still had my father. Because later on my father got out through the years I knew my father. And
Yeah.
then after then he got out the military and our bond tightened up or whatever. So I was one of the fortunate ones to have two fathers. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? But I was told a few years ago, I think my wife talking to my mama or something like that, and they get to talking. But it was a time when my stepfather wanted to change my last name to his name because he was taking care of me.
Okay.
Um, as much respect I have for my stepfather, which it sound funny to me calling him stepfather because that's what I'm saying. I say I got two fathers. I ain't gonna even lie. Uh,
Yeah.
but as much respect I have for that man, as much love I got for him, as much what I'm saying, whatever I got for pops, I'm glad that didn't happen.
Oh,
Through and
I
through, I'm a
understand it.
cook, bro.
Absolutely.
Like I'm a cook. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like I'm grateful for everything he did for me. Like, because one thing he always did that made me feel welcome too. And this, like, for men out here going to the stepfather, going through the stepfather situation or whatever. In a lot of cases, the words that you use determines the behaviors of the kids or the attitudes of the kids. And I'm gonna tell you what I mean by this. Not once did I hear, yeah, this is my stepson, Brian, or whatever like that. It was always,
Mm-hmm.
this my oldest boy. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So it was like, I never felt like a step kid. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Same thing
Yeah.
I feel with my father's wife, Kate. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't feel like a step kid to her. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, hey, this our oldest boy. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So that was one thing Pops was good at doing, man, where he, made that known or whatever. But, kind of going back to what we're talking about, I'm a cook, man.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that my name was not changed. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I'm glad that it was not changed. That cook name means something to me. And I'm passing it down to my children as we speak. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Even it may sound corny, but I even use that when they playing sports. So when they in the class, man, you a cook, man. We don't do that. We don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, and
Right.
they really kind of like buying into that shit too.
Yeah. I mean, and it's funny that you talk about the whole step situation because, like, my dad has been divorced from my stepmom for I don't know how many years it's been. I think they might have got divorced when I was like 17, 18, about 18 years old, something like that. I'm 46 right now, but I still call her mom. Like, and her two daughters and oldest son, her firstborn son, I still call them sister and brother. You know what I'm saying? And it's to this day, that's my mama. And it stems from the way she treated me. You know what I'm saying? When I went down south, it was I was one of her kids. You know what I'm saying? Whatever happened in that household, I wasn't excluded. That means whoopings, that means discipline, that means house chores, that mean everything. You know what I'm saying? When I was there, I was one of them. You know what I'm saying? I never felt like, oh well, he don't know no better because he ain't my kid. I ain't get that. You know what I'm saying? It was man, you know what you're supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? You know how to act. So to this day, like and I just got finished talking to her, like I think it was like last week, and she texts me periodically, and I call my sisters all the time and talk to them, text them all the time. Man, they're my sisters, you know what I'm saying, and that's my brother. Talk to my oldest brother all the time. I mean, I have a sister from my dad, Shan, where I'll say growing up, our bond wasn't as close growing up because I think it was more of a like competing for like my dad's love type thing. Well, not really for me, you know, but I think from her, it was like I'm the oldest kid and, you know, that's my dad type situation growing up as kids. But as we've gotten older, our bond has, you know, really been super tight. You know what I'm saying? Our love for each other has gotten super tight. And I appreciate that because I know like some years ago, and I ain't gonna get emotional, we had stopped talking for a minute over a misunderstanding or whatever like that. And during that course of the time, you know, I'm reaching out to her, not even really understanding why she, you know, was angry at me. But during that period of time, she had went through like some major surgery where it could have, you know, it could have, you know, it could have killed her. And I had no clue about that, you know what I'm saying, because we wasn't talking. And once we started back talking, it made me real emotional. I'm like, I could have lost my sister and we wasn't talking. I wouldn't have known nothing about it. You know what I'm saying? So that made me feel some type of way. But man, like I mean, our bond now is super tight, man. We can sit on the phone for hours talking, laughing and joking and stuff. And whenever we do talk, uh, man, we could pick right back up with, you know, any type of, you know, conversation, anything like that, laugh and joke. So man, yeah, that name, man, that name for me, it means something, man. It means a lot to me. It always meant a lot to me. And the thing is, my mom would always say, "Well, that's my last name. Okay, that's fine, but that's your last name from another man."
Right. That's not your original. Because
Right.
I don't know if you know. Well, you probably don't know this, but you probably heard. It's so funny that you what the name that you said as far as BJ. You probably heard my grandmother till her dying day called me BJ, and the reason she called me BJ initially, my birth certificate said Brian Jefferson, which is my mama's maiden name.
Okay. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So originally my name was Brian Jefferson. So
Okay.
my birth certificate says Brian Jefferson, and then the Jefferson is crossed out and cooked. You know what I'm saying? Like they redid so whatever. So my grandmother used to call me BJ, you know what I'm saying, to you know, until she got up out of here. Um, you know, but again, as much as proud or whatever, as much as I mess with my mama side of the family, I love the Jeffersons. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm a Jefferson as well or whatever. I'm glad I wear that Cook name. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
absolutely. Absolutely.
It ain't no knock against the Jeffersons, the Newsoms, the nobody like that, because those are my family and I love them, appreciate them. You know what I'm saying? I love all that, but man, I'm a cook, man. We laugh and joke. My hands look like my daddy's and my granddaddy's. My feet,
Yeah, yeah.
my
Yeah, yeah.
mannerisms, my whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's like my
Oh,
granddaddy,
you a
my
cook, bro.
uncle. You know what I'm saying? So that stuff means something, man. That name, you know, them names and whatever. And see, this is the thing, bro. It only means something if the people, again, if the people before you were stand-up people, so to speak. You know, I'm gonna just use that term.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know what I'm saying? If my granddaddy was a piece of shit, or my daddy or my uncles or you know or a piece of shit, I wouldn't care nothing about that Cook name.
yeah,
You would try to
yeah.
I try to associate myself with the best possible
Right,
people. You know, I'd be thirsty to be a Newsom or a Jefferson or whatever. But
right.
the fact that my granddaddy was a stand-up guy, you know, my
Hmm.
pops a stand-up guy, my uncles a stand-up guys or whatever, I wear the name proudly. Even
Yeah,
even 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 from where I started using the name, because you know a lot of people called me by my last name. Most of
yeah,
the people that went to high school with me, you know what I'm saying. And one reason that means something to me, my my grandfather back in Talladega, Alabama, and then my uncles and my daddy here all were sports guys. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And from what I was told, being a cook on the football field or whatever like that was mean something. Like they was, you know what I'm saying? They was some dogs out there.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't wait to be called cook on the
And,
football field.
and I'm glad you brought that up, because that's actually bringing me to my next question for you is, now that you are starting to see the development in BJ and the development in Kendall as a father, how is that making you feel? You know what I'm saying? 'Cause I know I remember when it was a time when you and your wife struggled with not even letting him play football because of his situation, with his I think his kidneys, right?
It was his kidney. Yeah.
So how does it feel now as a father watching his development? You know what I'm saying? And then same thing with Kendall. I don't want to leave Kendall out. Same thing with Kendall, watching their development.
Um, I had to. It's funny you say that. I had to slow myself down. And when I say I had to slow myself down, due to me seeing potential, is due to me seeing things develop in them. Sometimes I like just say BJ, he 10. Sometimes I fast forward and wonder what he gonna be like at 16.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Or I'm like,
Hmm.
dang, like with him playing youth football. So next year it'll be his 5th grade year. Sometimes I wonder how he gonna be in 8th grade, you know.
Hmm.
And I have to slow myself down and be like, no, enjoy the moment now, where he is right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Same thing with Kendall. She's I don't know if I told you, man. She played her first flag football game last Sunday.
Nah,
And
I ain't know that.
yeah, she might have found her little niche. Like
Okay.
you know what I'm saying? She doing her thing out there with the flag. Um, so same thing with her. She going to high school next year. So I found myself thinking ahead, like, man, when them coaches really get her, you know what I'm saying? Them coaches really get her on that track field or on the football field, man, what is she gonna really be like? Or what? And I had to stop and be like, no, enjoy them right now where they are. Like in their development where they are, because looking like seeing your situation with your son, man, when I started coaching this youth football, he was like my son age. I think he was like 10 or something, 9 or 10 or something like that when I started.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
and now he in college, playing college
Yeah.
ball. So I see how
Yeah.
fast it goes. So it's like, hey nigga, slow down. It's gonna shoot by anyway. So you might as well enjoy
But
them
see,
where they're right now.
I think the reason why you do that is because of Nick. You know what I'm saying? You and the other kids that you've coached over the years, you've seen them progress throughout the years or whatever. So it's only natural for you to kind of fast forward to kind of think about what BJ will be. But no, I will tell you, yes, enjoy the moment. You know what I'm saying? Enjoy where he's at now. Continue to pour in him, and both of them. Because I don't want to make this just about BJ. I want to make it about both of them. But continue to pour in both of them, and with their development, and meet them where they want to be. You know what I'm saying, in that space. Because one thing I had to learn from Nick and Jada, and one thing I told both of them, but I really told Nick because Nick a real sports guy, but and most of our conversations, we talk about other things, but most of our conversations are centered around, sports and football and, different things he need to work on. But one thing I want to make sure that I want him to understand as a father, it wouldn't matter to me if you play football or not. You know what I'm
Still
saying?
proud of you. I want
Yeah,
you to be the best man you can be.
exactly. You know what I'm
Listen,
saying? I
yeah.
want to make sure that he knew that, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, I know that's what we talk about. I know, you know what I'm saying, that's like kind of our bond, when we talk. But it was very important for me to let him know, you my son regardless. If you decided tomorrow to quit football, this your dream.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm only here to help
To
you
help
with
you
your
with your
dream.
dream. Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if you quit football, it ain't like I'm gonna be like, oh man, I ain't talking to you, or I'm mad. Like, I'm not gonna be mad at you if you decide to quit football. You know what I'm saying? this what you want to do. Since you started football, this has been your passion. You know what I'm saying? Like same thing with my daughter. My daughter started out at cheerleading. Then she stopped doing cheerleading and she switched to softball. She was very good at softball. Did she put everything into it like she was supposed to? No. But I started to see that our relationship started to get a strain because I was pushing her, but she didn't have that drive. So I had to step back and say, look, my relationship with my daughter as a father is way more important than my relationship with her as a softball
As
player.
an athlete, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I had to just kind of step back. Did I help coach? Yes. Because that was like a bond that I wanted to have between me and her, because she would always say, well, you always coach Nick teams, you coached him in basketball, you helped him out in baseball, you coached him in football since he started. So I was like, okay, you're right. I'm a coach you in softball. And I did that just to solidify our bond as a father and daughter. I didn't do it because I'm like, man, I want her to be a professional softball player, which it would have been good, but I did it for that reason because when she decided she didn't want to do it, I was like, oh, okay. I mean, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? What can I do about that? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's something that, yeah, I mean, over the years, man, and just enjoy it, man. Continue
Yeah.
to pour into his development and like whenever you need my help with, different things with him and if I can help with Kendall any type of way, you know what I'm saying, I help. But yeah, man. And I mean, and you do a good job of that. I mean, I obviously, I'm around you. I talk to you all the time, so I see how much you pour into both of them. Not even got to do with sports. You know what I'm saying? You just got to do it just being a father. So, yeah.
Yeah, man. Like I say, I think a lot of it comes from what we was just talking about. I had examples. I had good examples of how to be a father. And I know we're gonna make mistakes. We're gonna mess up. We ain't gonna do this thing right. I was just talking to we had a conversation on a couple Sundays ago with Uncle Carmen, and we was talking because Brandon, his oldest son, he didn't like. Let me see, maybe the last 7, 8, maybe since because he about early 20s now. So maybe about the high school years, the junior high years, all the way to high school years, and up until now, he was raised away from cuz with his mom,
Hmm.
and so people raise people differently.
Yeah.
So when son moved back or tried to come back and move with cuz like man, his work, um, cuz like his work ethic ain't good enough. You know what I'm saying? Like he
Hmm.
he don't want to go get no job. He want to lay around. He do this, do that. So Unc told Cuz like, man, you too hard on him, man. You know what I'm saying? You too hard on him, man. Like, and so Cuz like, hold on, man. How the fuck you telling me I'm too hard on him? And you ain't let me lay around.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, man, you coming flicking on lights in the morning, like, hey, if I gotta get up and go to work, you gotta get up and go to work. Like,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? You like, so how you telling me that I'm too hard on this boy and I'm raising him the same way you raised me? And Unc response was, he said, yeah, I'm not telling you to allow him to lay around this, that, and the other, whatever. He say, but as I look back now, I look back on a lot of things that I did wrong as a father, or I would do
Hmm.
differently nowadays as a father. So
Hmm.
cuz like, but I'm not tripping, Pops. Like the things that you did made me the man that I am today.
Right.
So why
Right.
can't I instill this same thing in my son? Why are you telling me to ease off my son? So Unc say, man, you got to realize everybody's different. He wasn't raised with you, watching you get up and go to work every day and all that. You got to take into account how he was raised, and now you want him to come and be this workaholic when he wasn't raised like that. You know.
Right.
But anyway, Unc main thing was he'll be 80 in June. Uncle be 80 in June, and he say, he just looked back and wish he'd done some things differently, or some
Yeah.
things better, or some things, you know. And I know we all gonna do that because
Oh,
it
absolutely.
ain't nothing perfect. You know what I'm saying? You ain't never gonna raise nobody perfect, or you ain't gonna never do everything perfect. But I guess you just do the best you can, or you do the best you know, right?
Yeah. I mean, like, so you grew up in a situation where most of the positive, if not all of the positive male role models and figures in your life came from within your family.
Yeah.
Mine came out of my family. You know what I'm saying? Like I love my dad, but my dad has always been away because he stays in Alabama and I
Right.
stay in Chicago. So I only got a chance to see my dad maybe once a year or to be around my dad once a year. Like we didn't really create a bond with each other until I got a older, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, yes, I went down there and yes, like he bought me stuff and he made sure I needed whatever I needed, I got. Uh, and I appreciate that. Like, it wasn't one of those, like, if I needed something, I'm like, man, I got to call somebody else. No, like I call him and he like, man, I got you. But as far as like having a positive male role model in my life, it came from your granddad first. That's probably like one of the first positive male role models that I had in my life. And then it trickled down to your Uncle Terry, then it trickled down to Alton Bridges. Then it trickled down to, what I'm saying, Gerald and your dad and, what I'm saying, the different people in the church, what I'm saying, because that's where most of my positive real role models, male role models came from. You know what I'm saying? So for me as a dad, I'm learning on the fly because everything I saw in my family was they had kids and they weren't really taking care of them. You know what I'm saying? So I had to learn, like, man, okay, what to do. So
Hey, let me ask you a question real quick. My fault, but on
yeah,
that
go ahead.
point,
Yeah.
like it's funny that they say like, okay, just say if you grow up uh watching your mama get beat,
Hmm.
you either gonna grow up and beat women, or you gonna grow up and be like, you know what, I don't want no parts of that. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes even to the point where you a simp, where you just
Hmm.
letting women run over you. You know what I'm saying? And so the
Hmm.
same thing with the fatherless situation for most men. Some men grow up and complete the cycle and be like, well, I ain't, having these babies that don't take care of. And some men grow up and be like, you know what? I'm gonna be the best father I could be because I didn't have them. What you
Hmm.
think about that?
I think it's crazy. I was just having this conversation. You have a choice in life. I'm glad we're talking about this. You know what I'm saying? And I know we completely off topic. And we're probably gonna have to
No.
pick back up on something else, another day. But I'm glad you're talking about this because it's something I want to talk about. You are in control of your own salvation. You have a choice to make. You know what I'm saying? No matter what is done wrong, in your life or what you see done wrong, you have a choice to do wrong or do right. You know what I'm saying? That's your choice. Now people can make excuses. Man, that's all I see. That's what I grew up around. But if you know right from wrong, you got a choice to make, right? You know what I'm saying? So I say all that to say, like, yeah, I've seen a lot of bad things. I seen people dealing drugs. I seen people using drugs. You know what I'm saying? I seen people not taking care of their kids or, disowning their kids. But I also had situations in my life like with Pops, with RD, you know what I'm saying, with Terry, with Alton, with you know what I'm saying, with Byron's dad, Tobias. I
Mm-hmm.
seen so much positive that it will only be excuse for me to do the bad stuff. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it was like I had to make a choice. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I was the perfect person and nothing like that, or even a perfect dad. But I had to make a choice, even with my life. You know what I'm saying? You know me. You know I could have went a totally different route from where I'm at right now. But I had to make a choice because once again, we are in charge of our own salvation. When we go up to heaven, And when we go there for Judgment Day, you can't say, well, DC made me do this.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? He gonna be looking like, man, you made that decision. You know what I'm saying? It ain't, you can't blame nobody else. You know what I'm saying? You can't blame nobody else for nothing.
So how much? Okay, so it's funny you saying this. So as you know, you see where I'm at. I'm a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when we get to talking about, amongst us, amongst the teachers and stuff like that, we get to talking about these kids, right? And it's a male gentleman in here that I talk to a lot. You know what I'm saying? Because me and him work with the sports and work with the kids a lot or whatever. And we get to talking about some of these boys. And one of the reasons he gives them a pass, he one of the reasons he's a little, what I'm saying, uh, I guess a little merciful or a little whatever. He says a lot of these boys don't see a man at home
Mm-hmm.
or don't see a positive male role model at home. So how much of that do you give them the excuse for? You know what I'm saying? How much of that do you excuse them for their behavior or them acting a fool because we're the only in some of their cases we're the only two positive male role models that they see, and we only see them 6 hours out the day, which I'm only touching them an hour out the day when they come to my class 5 days a week and all that. Because what it seems like sometimes you instill stuff in them and it comes unraveled when they get home. It's like you pouring back into them every day, man. You gotta the same thing we worked on yesterday. I gotta pour back into you today because you went home and it got unraveled.
I'm gonna explain it to you the best way that I can. Right? It's like, you ever seen anybody knit? See
Yeah,
somebody knit. So in essence, what you doing is you knitting, right? You knitting a perfectly, let's say sweater, right? You knitting a perfect sweater, right? And then you set it down, and then when you come back, it's kind of unraveled a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But then when you come back and see it again, you knitting it back again, and you trying to, so you making progress. But when you set it down and come back, you see a little of that progress being unraveled. What you gotta try to do is make sure you're knitting more than the unraveling.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Because you probably never see the finished product until years from now. Like right now, at a fourth grader, fifth grader, sixth, you know what I'm saying? Whatever age they are, whatever grade they in, you probably won't see it until they 20. You know what I'm saying? If you bump into them again, the lessons that you taught them that you thought they didn't retain, you know what I'm saying? They gonna be like, man, Cook, man, I remember back in fourth grade or fifth grade when you told me this, man, and man, I appreciate. Right now, you're not gonna see it. You know what I'm
and
saying?
you know what, and that's so true because, like I said, I've been doing a lot of reflecting, due to the situation, but a lot of reflecting on Pop. Uh, a lot of that stuff, like me and him, in my personal opinion, didn't become as tight as we were until my 20s. Because at this point, I'm a grown man. I can really just say F you and go on about my business if I want to, because I don't, you know what I'm saying? I'm grown,
Hmm.
I'm this, that, and other. But we grew tighter because a lot of the stuff he told me over the years started registering as I got older and my mind matured and now that's what he meant when he said that.
You know
That's
that's called. You know that's called B, mental receipts.
okay.
Mental receipts. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody deposited something in you. You know what I'm saying? At that time when you was younger, you didn't understand it. But then when you start to go back in your mind of those lessons that was being taught, it's an aha moment. Like,
Yeah.
man, I get it now. I get what he was talking about. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, like the level of grace that dude is giving these kids is because he's depositing, you are depositing mental receipts into them with the hopes that once they get older, they can go back in and be like, okay, I didn't get it then. I was too young and my circumstances didn't let me understand what they was talking about. But now that I'm going through life, I get it. You know what I'm saying? And like that's why he gives them that level of grace
Yeah.
because of that. You know, now I believe in giving them grace, but I also believe that sometimes you got to meet people where you have to meet them.
Yeah.
Some of these kids need and want to be disciplined. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, think about this. And I told my son this. If I let you do whatever you want to do all the time, do I truly love you?
And you're gonna hate me later on in life.
Exactly.
You're gonna be like, man, you ain't even teach me that, or you know what I'm saying? You watched me go down this wrong path and you didn't stop me.
Yeah. That's another thing I say too. I think I told this to my daughter. I'm like, if you keep walking, and I know if you keep walking a couple more steps, it's a ledge right there. And if you keep walking, you're gonna walk over that ledge. If I just keep letting you walk without saying anything, do I truly love you? Because I know that walk is leading to death.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? These kids want and need discipline.
Yes.
Now the thing is, and you all are handcuffed by the school system in the way you all can discipline them. But I've learned, even working on the street, you got some people that you could say, man, I need you to move around for me. You know what I'm saying? And all right, officer, man, I got you, man. I'm cool. But then you got some who you got to say, man, didn't I tell you to get up out of here, man? I ain't gonna keep telling you this. You know what I'm saying? If I got to come over there, put my hands on you, you know, and then they gonna respond to that.
Yeah.
It's a certain level of discipline for everybody. You can't discipline everybody the same way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
That's
saying?
even the case with your kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
See,
Absolutely.
one thing that I learned, right? Thing social justice, right? Social justice is built on equality. But equality don't mean the same thing. Like for instance, this the illustration that I give to describe that. Say me and my daughter, or just say me and my daughter, who I'm 4-5 inches taller than.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? If not more. Say we had a brick wall that we can't see over the wall. And you come up and you give me a crate to stand on, and you give her a crate to stand on, right? Now you've given both of us the same thing. But when I stand on the crate, I can see well over the wall. She stand on that motherfucker, it ain't enough.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you gave both of us the same thing, but you didn't give her
It ain't equal.
it ain't what she needed.
Right.
She
Exactly.
need 2 crates.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying? She need 2. I only
Yeah.
need 1.
Right. Yeah. I completely understand where you're coming from. Yeah. It ain't equal. Even though you gave
Right.
somebody the same thing, it still ain't equal.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
you gotta deal with people differently. People are different. People's needs are different.
Yep.
People's circumstances are different. So, like
Yep.
you just said a minute ago about meeting them where they are, you got to meet a person where they are and pour into them what they need poured into.
Yep. And I think for you all as educators, that's the hard part for you all. You all got to figure out each individual kid. Like
30 kids.
right. So it's easy for me because I got 2. You know what I'm saying? And like when I was on the street, you know, I'm dealing with these people, but I'm pretty much dealing with the same people. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I ain't gonna say it wasn't a lot because it was, but it was easier for me in an authoritative type figure. my hands wasn't as cuffed back then when I was on the street. With you all are handcuffed and a whole bunch of other things. So now it's like, how do I meet them properly without losing my job?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's the thing, because some people need to be disciplined differently than other kids. But the what you all what's the word I'm trying to look for? The dang, I can't think of the word. But it's harder for you all because you all are in a system that's telling you to do it a certain type of way. But a certain type of way isn't good. It doesn't suffice for everybody.
Correct.
You know what I mean? So I mean, yeah, it's harder that way, man. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
you
But
dealing, man. You dealing with so like working this. You dealing with so many personalities, so many circumstances and situations, man. That give me like 10 minutes. All right, you dealing with like so many circumstances and situations that um, with so many different kids. Even me and some of the teachers were sitting up here yesterday. It's a couple kids that like the therapist and one of the classroom assistants, they worked out with me. Whether they got a couple kids that's like give trouble and stuff like that, and they working with them,
mhm,
and they reward them by if they cool for this many days or whatever, they get to come in the gym and shoot around, play basketball
mhm,
for a part,
mhm,
what I'm saying, for a period or whatever the case may be. And we were sitting in here talking to them yesterday, and it's like you can't bring out no food around them. Man, give me some, give me some. You know what I'm saying? Like, and the rule tell you, man, don't get no kid no food because if they get sick or whatever, this, that, and other. Man, some of these kids really hungry.
yeah,
Some of these kids really, or that's just the bond. That's the way you gonna build a bond with them, or whatever like that. So in a way, you got to break the rules sometimes to meet a kid where they are, man.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Because again, like one of these kids just being greedy or whatever. But this kid over here really like this apple that I'm giving him, you know what I'm saying? Really, other than that school lunch, this the only shit he gonna eat all day.
yeah. You're gonna go home and be hungry, or they may have like some noodles or something like that, or
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying. But other than that, yeah, he gonna be
Or or
hungry.
or like we just said about pouring into him positively. This may be the only piece of fruit this kid eats. You know what I'm saying? Other than that,
Hmm.
all he eating is Takis or all
Yeah,
he eating is whatever. So this little apple may be the only positive
nu-
nutrition
yeah,
that this kid gonna receive, bro.
yeah, 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 man. I mean, hey, I tell you, you know what? I know I'm gonna have to get up out of here, but the reason why I wanted to talk about this, because it was on my heart. One, to figure out where you were in like, as far as your mindset as in the development of like what you've been going through the school, what you've been going through, with, because my kids are grown, but it's like you a dad who has a 10-year old, and then you got Kendall who's what, 14.
Mm-hmm.
So seeing how you navigating through that space, you know what I'm saying, and that's really what I wanted to talk about today. You know what I'm saying, to be honest with you, because I had it on my heart, like, to even before you even reached out to me about doing this episode, I had it on my heart about talking about you being accountable for your own salvation.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that was on my heart to talk about it anyway. And then it just so happened that it came out in this episode. But it also was on my heart to talk about the things that we talked about, as far as my last name, and talk about family, and talk about, you know what I'm saying? So even though we didn't get a chance to talk about maybe some sports,
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? But this is what I really, want to talk about, like real stuff. You know what I'm saying? Sports is fine. Don't get me wrong. I love sports. But if you've been following, anybody who's been following me of late, I talk about real stuff.
Most definitely.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the space that I've really been in.
I've gotten like compliments and positive feedback, even though when you post it on pages and stuff like that, of people responding positively or people even saying something to me positively about it. So that space, you know what I'm saying, that's a good space for you, and that and it's necessary, and it's not being ignored and it's not being looked over. So I that is definitely something that's needed. And put it that way. It's definitely something that's needed.
Oh, before we get up out of here, I want to tell you something. So I was in the gym. I've been in the gym. Feel great. I'm gonna keep going. I gotta make sure I'm gonna make this a part of my daily or my weekly, regimen of routine of doing things because I feel great being back in that gym. But I want to tell you, I was in the gym a couple of days ago. I seen your brother and I seen your dad in the gym. So I seen your dad, he was in the pool. I didn't get a chance to talk to him because he was in the pool. So I see your brother, and I'm like, I had my bringing the business hat on to the back. So I'm over there doing back or whatever. He come over there. He tapped me on the shoulder. What's going on, man? I said, oh, what's up? What? How you doing? He said, man, I ain't know who that was. But I don't know too many people that got that bringing the business hat on. You know what I'm saying? He said, man, when y'all coming out with another episode? So I told him I got to put out the R&B episode that we did. I've been kind of dragging my feet on that. I was like, I said, I got an episode coming out. We talking about some R&B stuff. I'm like, and we got some other stuff coming. You know what I'm saying? So it's just to let you know, family checking us out,
Oh yeah.
waiting.
Oh
You
yeah.
know what I'm saying? They waiting. You know what I'm saying? So man, I like to say that, man, whenever we get an opportunity to get on here and do something, man, even if it's for 20 minutes, we need
Yeah.
to get on. We need to get on
And,
here.
and for the family and friends that's listening, man, you ain't got to be nobody famous or nobody. Man, come on here and talk with us. Like
Mm,
everybody got something to say. Everybody got, you know, some information to add or whatever like that. So we're welcoming
yeah,
all of our supporters to,
yeah.
hit us up with topics and stuff like that that you could join the show with us because we're just trying to grow this thing.
And also, and one last thing before I get up out of here. Uh, you got any more good interviews coming up? I know that last interview was very powerful, man. You got anything else coming up in the making?
I got some more. I got some more that I'm thinking about. I got some more
Okay,
that I'm reaching out and stuff like that. But like yeah, like you said, that interview with Sarah, yeah, that was a real uh it was a necessary one. I'm glad that we were able to do it and stuff like that. And like you said a minute ago, um it ain't necessarily just about no sports and nothing like that. Like we want to be able to touch people and be positive influences on people's lives. So
absolutely.
sometimes we got to put the sports down and talk some real stuff. So
Yeah.
that's what we got to do. So yeah,
Hey, so everybody, we appreciate you coming out. For not coming out, but we appreciate you to listen to this episode. And we about to conclude this episode. Another great episode of Bringing the Business. Once again, this your host BJ, and this your other host BC. Peace.
peace.